Prepper versus Survivalist. One has a bug-out bag, the other one is a bug-out bag. Welcome back to the Prepper Network podcast. This is episode 2, where we deep dive into the differences between a prepper and a survivalist and where their paths cross. I'm your host Lewis, along with Frank and Jim. Frank, which side of the fence are you on?
Hey guys, hey, welcome back. What side of the fence am I on? I'm on both sides of the fence.
You can't be on
I
both
originally
sides of the fence.
started out. Oh god, yeah. I started out as bushcraft first, and then I went to what did I do? I went to survivalist. What was my main key for years of survivalist, and then I graduated to prepper. So if you ask me what's the difference between a prepper and survival, on my side, my take on it, a prepper is prepared inside your house, and survivalist, when your house runs out of product or whatever, get in your go bag and off you go. And the survivalist takes over, where you can adjust to the outside world. Does that make sense?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. What's your take, Jim?
I am no out in the woods survivalist
A woodsman.
person, but I'm not a woodsman. I enjoy the outdoors and such, but I'm more, what should I say? I'm kind of like, I'm not either a prepper that is just collecting stuff and just buying more and more things and things that is gonna be the answer for everything. I'm more like to be versatile, and I want to be able to kind of fix things and make things work, both when I have a lot of stuff to use, but also when I don't and I have to improvise. Like, one of my biggest idols, if you will, from childhood is MacGyver. You know, the 80s MacGyver, not the new one. That doesn't count.
What was his name?
MacGyver.
God, I can't think of his name. Christ. Anyway, it'll come to me later. And what about you then Lewis?
Me, like, as a survivalist out in the woods, I would last 5 minutes. I don't really have too much experience on the outside with, like, like starting fires and things like that,
You gone very soft, is that what you mean?
Yeah. I have like my brother is ex-forces, and so
Mm-hmm.
when I go back to the UK, as for those of you listening, I'm not actually in the UK, I'm actually in Italy. So when I go back to the UK to visit my brother, we quite often go to the outside and go camping and stuff, and spend a few nights out. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I do have some sort of outdoors experience, but I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm a survivalist. I wouldn't go that far.
It would be, I'd say, what you'd see in the likes of the States, where you might see him coming up with a Jeep and a trailer load of equipment and unpack everything from the Jeep to the tent, blow up bed. I've seen them with televisions. I've actually seen televisions set up for the kids, or projectors or whatever. That is definitely not a survivalist. That is just a family going out for the weekend, keeping the kids happy.
Yeah.
Which in the survivalist end,
Yeah.
basically, these guys, the survivalists, would emphasis on the pre-event readiness. Like, they're typically well-defined plans, like caches and gear. That's what a survivalist has.
Yeah.
I've got a
ahead.
curveball for you.
Okay.
Because I recently got into hiking, and I did some mountaineering this summer. Not a lot, a little. And something I learned was that you can get by with very little. I learned a lot from the ultralight community.
Mm-hmm.
If you really think about it, and if you really consider what do you actually need, you don't need a lot, and you can go a long way, and you can be quite safe if you have the correct things. If you can keep warm, and you can get clean water in some way, like with a filter or something.
Yes.
You can last for a long time, and then it can actually be advantageous to have a light load.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the primary ideas behind the survivalist.
Yeah.
Is knowing how to do them, like filtering water, carrying. Some people go out with just 3 items just to see, can they do it? A wool blanket, a blade,
Sure.
and a tarp maybe, and just survive away, but make everything work for you. That's to learn how to do that, to become comfortable at it.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for years, and had some of the best sleeps with minimum equipment.
Yeah. If you look on the ultralight people, their tents are actually they are more like fancy tarps.
Yeah.
But
Space
set
age
up
tent, yeah.
correctly, they can withstand storms and such. So there is a crossover there that I think many people don't know about.
My brother, last time we went out and it was pouring it down. It was absolutely chucking it down. So the most important thing obviously we had is keeping our bags and everything in our bag in dry bags. Because, you know, as soon as
Mhm.
your warm kit and your dry kit gets wet, you're screwed.
Yep, that's
You're
correct.
screwed. So yeah, and we when we went to sleep, we had just a tarp. It was a tarp, you know, like almost like those gym mats. We've rolled out the gym mat sort of thing, sleeping bag
DD
under a
tarp.
tarp. Yeah, under and then under a tarp, and that's it. So you know, I learned a
Mm.
lot of my outdoor stuff. I learned from my brother, being you know ex forces. But yeah, I would to call myself a survivalist would be an insult to the survivalists.
He put you to shame. Just own up to it. Own it.
Yeah, it's
Say it to
but
your brother now. He's probably
but
listening.
the funny thing about that day is that we woke up that morning and I was like, why am I'm a bit like a bit cold even though I'm inside my sleeping bag. Basically the tarp on my side had collapsed and I looked down, I lifted up the tarp and my boots and my bag and everything was outside.
Oh,
Oh,
that's the hard
And
lesson.
my boots were full of water.
oh no.
Lovely.
Brother was like, "Well, this is where you learn your lesson because if you were on exercise now and you have only one change of, you know, so your dry kit,
That's
this,
it.
like, yeah, and
Suck it up, buttercup.
your sleeping bag is now compromised. You know, your
Mhm.
boots are now compromised. We don't know when the rain's going to stop,
Yeah.
and so you know,
Comfort is everything when you're walking a
yeah,
long distance like that,
exactly.
you know.
But yeah, so it was fun. It was an experience, and you know,
The army do maintain you walk on your stomach and walk on your feet. And if you had good socks, you know, the Vietnam War, they had trench foot and whatever because they were constantly wet. They learned all them lessons. That's why the equipment that we use today, even the army use it. They have extremely good boots, socks, and you know they're porous, so you'd be using cotton the whole time. That would work nicely. Keeps the heat in with even though it's wet. So a lot of stuff is learned over the years from the
yeah,
army. I'm sure your brother probably sniggering as he was walking,
yeah,
coming
oh yeah,
behind you, yeah.
it was
Keep
lovely.
quiet in the woods.
So, no, it was
Anyway,
good fun. It's good fun. Yeah, but like I
so
say,
y
I know the
so
basics,
you
put it
wouldn't have
that
to
way.
do that as a prepper, though.
No, as a prepper, that's it.
As a prepper,
But
you'd have 3 pairs of boots, 10 pairs of socks, 4 pairs of pants, you know?
I
1 is none and 2 is 1. That's what they say. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
2 is
yeah.
1 and 1 is none.
But I think every prepper becomes a survivalist once they bug out, that's the thing.
Yes, that is it. So you have to have a basic a basic area of knowledge in the survivalist part, which I
Mhm.
think most preppers they kind of fall into anyway. But you can always go down that rabbit hole. So as I said, I started there first. Second, I started there between that and bushcraft, and then I matured onto the prepping when I think I knew I did 50 or 60 camps in over the last 10 years alone, 50 or 60 with groups. So I was responsible for all of them groups. And I'm completely used to going outside in any kind of weather at this stage. And it doesn't phase me at all. I think there's some of the greatest weekends or nights you can have. So what we used to do ourselves as well is we just go out and just practice. We'd go up mountains where we know there's a snow level, and down below it'd be fine down the mountain, but we go up high, and by God, that really tests you. We had a good few years ago now. We went up there with I really should have vetted more of the people, but half of them in the middle of the night just got and went down the hill. I don't know where they went because I got up the next morning. I didn't hear anything. I was just snug as a bug in a rug in my hammock and tarp. I don't own a tent. I didn't own a tent for well over 10 years. I've just used a tarp. That's it. Nothing else. Tarp and a
Mm.
hammock. And I mean, you really get away with that. If you have it done right, it's a fantastic bit of kit. But yeah, that compared to I remember I was doing an interview a few years ago on national radio, and I was asked, "Am I a survivalist or a prepper?" Oh no, I'm not a prepper. I kept saying to him because I didn't want people to know what I had. And then over the years, I want people to know how to become preppers and how to do so. I don't mind myself going forward. I'm not giving you my address, but I will advise people on what to do and so on. So I think it's as I said last week, I think this is a fantastic hobby to get into, just not for you, but for your family as well, because you know
Sure.
it's it emphasizes all of the adaptability that you can do when you're out in the field. So
I have a question about your survivalist group because
sure.
how do you know everybody that comes out with you on these trips? Do you know them personally, or are they signing up like to an event, or how does it work?
Yeah, basically, when it started, when we went out first, I got a lot of coverage on national TV and radio and stuff, and newspapers. What we were doing, cooking deer in the ground and using roadkill, and well, not necessarily roadkill. Well, we were, but we didn't say that because people don't like roadkill. But what happened was there was an open invitation and an event created on the Facebook page, and 80 plus people turned up. And our
Wow.
woods is very remote woods, and it really opened our eyes. 80 people is a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot then to that's where I started to meet all the guys, and then the regular guys, year after year after year, they're all the same guys coming back. But every now and then we get new people coming in. And we had I remember two guys came down. They're all excited to meet us, Oh, we see you on your TV and all the shit. And they came down and they were so excited. We had a great night, absolutely fantastic night. I remember it was lashing rain and we were all just under tarps and we were all in a communal tarp setup. So we had a fantastic time. And the next morning, I actually slept around the fire. I didn't even use the hammock. The next morning, one of the guys came and he looked miserable. And I said, "My God, what the hell happened to you?" Oh, he said, "I forgot my sleeping bag." And I felt like slapping him and saying, "What?" All you had to do is say that, and I had 3 of them in my van. I carry multiples of everything when I'm carrying with groups. I have tents, sleeping bags, hammocks, tarps. I have all of the equipment that anybody would ever need, and I have multiples of them. And I used to bring a trailer with me in my Jeep because of this reason. And I gave out to him, I said, and I've never seen him since. "Why didn't you just let us know? No. All you had to do is come to the fire, and you would have been fine, and we would have given you as much equipment as you needed." No. Oh, friendly group. That's the kind of people that we get coming, where they're so excited they forget half their equipment.
Mm.
80 was too many then. Well, we had to whittle it down, so we kind of kept it in around the 20, and even 20 was a little bit high. So we did one. We did one in Napan, in Donegal, or sorry, Mayo, Napan. It's a national park, and we had approximately 150, and the health and safety of the local council got wind of it, and they came in and said, "No, can't do that again. Too many people, too wild."
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, that really got out of hand. There was no arguments or anything like that. It's just families, and they even brought the children. Now I had a restriction of about 9 up or 7. I used to say, 9 more or less, because 7 is a little too young. But 9 upwards, you can just we tried not to bring kids with their iPads and their phones in the tents, but that didn't work. So families just get peace and quiet. I'm saying, I can see Lewis Riley. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Keep the kids happy, give them the iPad, good luck, and yeah. So we haven't done any big ones like that ever since. So now we just have the usual between 10 and 20, and it's all the same people come along. But every now and then we get new people come to see if they like what we do. So you can never tell. But it's great to see new people turning up as well, and
So
the younger generation are coming along also.
so
So how
how
Which
often
I
often?
do
just
you
think,
That's the same question I
sorry,
was
go on.
gonna ask. We're
How
asking the same
often?
question. Go on.
We were at the stage of every 4 to 6 weeks, primarily 6 weeks, and that became, and then some of the lads were going out every 2 weeks. And then then you have factions and groups, they go together, little cliques. So some guys would go, they'd be into hiking up over the mountain ridges or something. They want to do 5 or 6 ridges in one day or one weekend. That's fine. Yeah, 30, 40 kilometer hike, and testing themselves out as well. So they'd come along with their 72 hours of food, their backpack and their tarps, all the gear and the radios as well for the comms, just in case there's an emergency, testing themselves that way. And we've had a few incidents. We had yeah, and I'm the medic, as you know. So one lad, he fell off a bridge into a 6-foot empty stream, and he split the whole of his forehead. And every time I see him, I'm looking for the crease. I can never see it because they did such a great job. I pulled them together, the stitches, and the ambulance couldn't come to us. The helicopter couldn't come to us because we were so remote. And I managed to get down the mountain down to an hour and a half away, and we got the ambulance to meet us in a local village. And he was back the next day, patched up, the whole lot. Delighted we were all alive. There wasn't any drink around. I was sober as the judge. Some of the lads, they have a few bottles of wine or whatever, or beers or whatever. I don't mind. But one thing we do emphasize when we do go out with big groups like that, we have no guns. Knives, yes. Guns, no. So that's kind of a golden rule. It gets a little bit hairy when you have too many guns floating around. I don't think the
Well,
guards would like that or
yeah.
anybody else.
Oh,
But
interesting.
it's something I've always. I mean, when I talk to people online, they always want to come out to a group camp, and you can always nearly tell the guys that will never come. They're all, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, sorry, the wife is calling sick today. I have to stay home, and the children all this. We know. I always allow for that. So when we're saying there's 20 come, I know there's only going to be 5. So that's
Yeah.
fine. Now at the moment, I'm happy when there's only, as I said, 8 to 10 people. I'm delighted, and that's just a nice tight group. Then we have a great time.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of people to kind of watch over and to try, make sure everyone's, happy, safe. Yeah.
Yeah. We have women, okay, on the big groups, like we had to build toilets. And that really emphasized the fact that we were in trouble because the council were aware of what happened and because we were supposed to supply toilets on site. But sure, you couldn't get toilets sit there. I don't know what they were thinking. We built them ourselves and we were able to just fill in the holes when we were done and nobody was any the wiser. You wouldn't even know we were there. Leave no trace. That was our main motto, and it did work great, but it's not good enough for council. They need sanitary, they need flowing water, and all of the usual stuff that the red tape that you just don't want to see.
Yeah.
Is that because it counts like an organized event instead of just friends meeting up? How do they know that you are going out? Or okay, so now we're getting into something that's maybe more in the bushcraft area, but where are you allowed to be and do stuff? Because I know the rules are different in different places.
Yeah, I know the rules in Sweden. You're allowed anywhere you like to camp and I think light a fire as well. Isn't that right? But you
Yeah,
have to leave no
you have
trace.
to stay out of people's gardens and a respectable distance from them. And but if it's
Okay.
like the woods, so then you because we have a lot of pretty much all I'm saying pretty much, but a lot of our woods are our woodlands are it's kind of like wood farming. So but instead of sowing and then reaping once or twice a year, it's you do it every 25th year. So it's farmed land, but it's the forest.
Yeah.
And then if where they have crops, like farms have crops, and there you can't be. But you can go into areas with animals, but you have to watch
Yeah,
out
we have the
because
same.
there
It's
are
called
animals.
quilcha here.
But also yeah. So we have a big forestry business in Sweden, and that's uh, mainly where you are. Then if you go up in the Swedish Alps, if you can call them that, what's it called? The Scands. Then it's a bit different there, but you are allowed to light a fire. You are allowed to sleep in one place for one night, I believe it is. And the rule is
Yeah.
kind of like leave no trace. So and
Yeah.
also you are allowed to pick dead branches and stuff for fire, but you can't cut down fresh vegetation.
Mm.
Only dead trees, dead standing. Yeah, I was looking at the rules on Scandinavia. All right, that's sounds great because they don't have the same rule right of way in the UK, and we definitely don't have it in Ireland. In Ireland,
Mm.
we had the tree crowd called Quilcha, and it was set up in 1986 or 83, 83 or 84, or somewhere around there. And their idea was to manage the forestry in Ireland, but not only, but to plant native woodland as well. That didn't happen. They have 11% of the country planted with pine and it's chopped down every 15 odd years. 2% is the native forestry in the whole of Ireland. 2%. It's really,
Wow.
really poor. We're really missing out there.
Yeah.
All of the big trees are gone.
Yeah. And one thing that I don't know how it is where you are, but in Sweden, some person or company owns the forest almost all of the time, and anyone is allowed to pick berries and mushrooms. So you can go to the store here and you can buy blueberries picked by people in someone else's forest. So you are allowed to pick
Yeah.
berries and mushrooms. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Here where I live in Italy, in the south of Italy, they're really strict on camping. You are allowed if you just set up camp at 8 o'clock and leave at 6 in the morning. That's your, like,
Mm.
overnight, just quick overnight sort of camping. But even then, it's like a grey area. You can get asked to move on. They're really hot on it, and you're not allowed to set out tables and chairs. And I think the reason why they've clamped down on it is because all this like glamping came about, and it wasn't just a tent. People start, like you were saying, Frank, bring their tables and chairs and then hang their washing out, and it's just like, well,
Mm.
um,
I've seen
they
that. I've
just
seen them giving out about it. There was a car park there, and a camper turned up with, and it was an ordinary car park, and he turned up, and it was obvious he's going to stay for the weekend in this car park. Take over 2 spots, and he had his deck chairs out and his canopy down, and he was getting the barbecue ready to go. So we all said to him, "You shouldn't. You're ruining it for everybody if you do that. Like, some people just want to stay for a night and go. He's there
yeah.
taking the total advantage of it."
Yeah, as long as you're sensible about it and don't take the biscuit, then they won't really bother you. As long as it's out the sight of other people and you don't really, annoy everyone,
Yeah.
then they'll let you get away with it. But you just gotta
You'll
be
find that
they
most bushcrafters would be the next step on the survivalist chain, would be the starting point. A bushcrafter would be extremely good at covering its tracks and leave no trace. So very minimal tarp hammock, and maybe use a stove to cook. Wouldn't even light a fire, a proper fire. That's what I've noticed with all the bushcrafters. They're very good that way. A survivalist then would possibly completely, you wouldn't even see the fire. So even though he has a fire, you wouldn't know it's
Mm.
there. Like, it's called like a rocket stove. What did they call it? I can't think of the name. It'll come to me now in a second. The fire pit. Somebody mentioned in the comments. Yeah,
Yeah, you have
and
these like wood gas burning stoves as well that you just feed with small twigs and stuff, and
a
the
kettle.
gases.
Mm.
Yeah, and also the gases reignites. The wood
Dakota
gases
fire pit.
reignites. Yeah,
That's the one.
so they're cool. I have one of those as well. But I thought now I lost the word. You just said it.
A Dakota
A
fire pit.
bushcrafter.
A
I
ket.
thought
Oh,
the
bushcrafter. Okay.
bushcrafter was chopping down fresh trees and building the more
Lean to
advanced
shelters and stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
Possibly, possibly. I have seen them do it. I have seen young kids and they chopping down live trees, and I said, "Oh my god!" They have to be shown what to do. So they just
Yeah.
go to see a few videos. There was a guy who was following Ray Mears, and he went up to Scotland then for a weekend on his own, and he ended up dying. He couldn't hack the cold up there, and he went into a botty. It's like a building on the top of the mountains. They're there for your protection out of the weather. A botty, and he died in there because he couldn't get a fire going, and he couldn't get the heat and whatever. So they did find him there. Did you hear that story? That was a good few years ago.
No.
I think
No.
they kind of eased up on all the shows then on the television after that, because people were just jumping the gun, going out. Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can light a fire. Like, a fire is very difficult to do in a damp conditions.
Well, it's funny you should say that because we'd not long got back from being at the Dolomites, and it was starting to get cold. Now I've just seen some videos of up there, and it's completely white now. But when we were there was no snow, but it was starting to get cold, and we went out for a couple of hikes on our own, and the missus was like, "Oh, let's go out, let's go for a walk." And it was raining, and I was like, "Oh, we still go," but she wanted to go a bit further up and keep going. I was like, "Listen, it's probably not a good idea. It's getting late, because when you start going into like forest and it gets dark, every tree looks the same, and you can get lost in seconds. And it's raining. We
Mm.
haven't got any dry kit, anything like that, and it's probably not the greatest idea." So, but yeah, and we actually a couple of days later we went to a guided hike, and we mentioned that, and he was like, "Yeah, no, it's not a good idea because there's been quite a few people past years, and some of them have died because they've thought, oh, I'll go out on a hike on my own. They get lost, gets dark, it gets cold. One guy a couple of days before who went for a walk and he slipped, fell, and yeah, he died
Yeah,
just
I just
about
give up.
a week before we got there. Yeah, so unfortunately these things happen, but it's people do think, oh, yeah, I'll be all right, I'll be fine, and it
Mm.
hasn't got to be miles away. Just especially in a place like the Dolomiti Mountains, it's
Yeah, it can happen to any mountain
Yeah.
range. I mean, I'm prone to it as well. I mean, touch wood, nothing has actually happened to me. No, I'm okay. Nothing has happened yet, and touch wood. But I do know a few of the lads have twisted their ankles up there, or whatever. And some of the guys, they're the lone wolves, as you call them, where a survivalist would be on his own. So I think we had a chat about that last week about communities versus the lone wolf, where he twisted his ankle, and I'd say only for he had his mobile phone on him, and he was able to get some help. I don't know the circumstances behind it, but the mountain rescue came and they found him and they brought him up, and that was okay. And that now happens regularly where not too far from where I live, the mountain rescue is active all year round, and people
Uh,
just take mad chances. They just go up, like I said, could be 6 in the evening and they continue up. I mean,
yeah.
going up is a lot easier than coming down in a lot of places.
Exactly. And, especially if you're not looking where you're going, in these little walks, because some people think, "Oh, it's only a small hill, it's only like a small mountain, it'll be
Mm.
fine. It's a tourist route. It's a tourist route, I'll be fine." But, yeah, that tourist route at nighttime, there's no, like, street lights, nothing like that,
No.
you know?
All you got is the stars for astral navigation, if you're anyway good at it like myself. I love doing that kind of stuff. That I did that in college, the astral navigation for Marine College. I'd love doing it. I don't even need a compass some of the times, you can just wing it.
Yeah.
But I do. I do it. I bring a map, and I always bring a paper map as well. I don't trust the phone. Phone could die, you could drop it. You could lose your phone and
Yeah.
you're kind of screwed after that. There's so many factors with what a survivalist does and what he learns and what he tries to teach himself and other people that are in the same kind of group. And then when you jump to the other end of the scale, a, a prepper, where
Yeah.
everything is grand, an external something goes wrong, like an economic disruption or a grid outage or something, and then they have to leave the house for some reason. That's when they get out of their comfort zone, and all of their preps, everything they've allowed for, they know the house, they know everything. They have to leave. That's when things get
But
sketchy.
you think they are a bit misguided? Are they preppers that focus all on getting the stuff at home and building their castle, so to speak? Are they missing a bit of the one of the more important parts of prepping, that is and preparing for what can you do when you don't have all your gear? Is there where the prepping planning comes in? Like,
Mm.
what do you do when you can't stay at home? Do you have a plan for that?
Absolutely.
Because for me at least, prepping is less in the things and more in the planning, and very much in the sense of a plan is nothing, but planning is everything. So you open up options for yourself. So you know stuff, you know how stuff works, and at least for me, when I've started my prepping journey, I I think that one of the biggest benefits is that I've learned a lot about how society works and how if the electricity distribution system goes down, what happens and what can I expect to happen and what services might work for how long and what happens when they don't work and how long will it take for them to come back and so on and so forth. For me, prepping is it's preparing more than collecting stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. No, a lot of people focus on gear, like you say, and getting this and getting that. But, like you say, what happens when you have to bug out and you have to leave that behind? Then what happens?
And I
The
also think
knowledge of
there's been a shift through time, because when I started to be interested in prepping, and if you just went out and did a YouTube or Google search, what you found was you have these cool EDC kits, and you gotta have these and this and that, and you gotta have guns, and you gotta store ammunition, and most of those things, I was like, but when would you actually use it? When do you actually need to use your 13 knives and all that stuff? I mean, most I use my things, EDC, if you will, things all the time, but it's not fancy knives. It's not stuff like that. It's like it can be a tweezer, or it can be the power bank, or it can be some some adapter for a cord, or something that all these small things like a pair of extra socks. and the weather changed. Everybody else is wet, but I'm not because I have a jacket.
And
And
the
and
tweezers.
yeah, so like I have a small pin. So and when do that get used? Yeah, okay. Now the windshield wiper fluid froze, or they got a small thing in. Ah, you just poke the hole. And I mean like stuff like that. It's like it's not cool. It's not cool.
Yeah.
But it
Um,
works.
yeah, but it works, and it's got it feels it has a function. It's functional equipment, and it's not for the cool factor. It's not
No,
tactical.
exactly.
It prepares me for, like, I always have a lot of windshield wiper fluid in my car. I always have rain gear in my car. I always have reflective vests, stuff like that. And most people that would get into my car, they will have no idea. They have no idea either that I know how old my spare tire is, and
Mm.
that my spare tire has enough
Yeah.
the small
My
dinky
wife
one that
came to
you're
me yesterday and she said, "There's a grenade box in the back seat of the car. What's going on?" I forgot to tell you, that's the winter. There's plastic chains on it, and there's an air pump on it, and a puncture repair kit in it, and it's
yeah,
very. I thought it was very basic. It's there's a few bars of chocolate, and there's a warm blanket, and that's it. That's
yeah.
all. It's a grenade box, a nice size one, and just sits behind the seat. And
Yeah.
Here we
yesterday,
have
literally, she said to me, "What is
Yeah.
this?"
Here we have a really weird thing though, because we have a law. It's called the knife law. I'm sure you in the UK are aware of knife laws, but
Mm.
the problem with the Swedish knife law, Swedish. Now I'm gonna need those repetitive, how was it, the seashells or whatever, tongue twisters. Yeah, but we have a law that says you can't carry stuff that you can use as weapons in public. But the problem is that your car counts as in the public, and there is no nothing that says, oh, okay. There's been some rulings now that says that a small pocket knife in the bag is okay and stuff like that. But for most of the part, it's pretty much up to, if you get stopped by the police and you have a knife in the trunk of your car, they can be like, "Oh, you're breaking the knife law." And then you have to go to court. And because,
You know
okay,
that.
it was a Mora knife in the trunk of my car in case of, whatever, because things can happen. No, or an axe, or so if you're not on your way to a hiking trip or hunting trip or something like that, or then
I'm
Frank
just
is
sorry. I'm just showing.
Frank
I
is
just
showing
showed it.
all his knives, and they're
I've got
beautiful
only
knives, but
I
they were
don't
not
really carry too
tactical.
many knives going camping at all.
Yeah.
I have just fold up knives, but this one is
Yeah,
the one I bought years
Japanese,
ago.
Japanese.
From Japan, yeah. Beautiful
Yeah,
knife.
yeah, but so it's weird, and I think they're gonna have to change it because it makes it, you don't know what's lawful. And it's like they use it when they find some person that they don't like, or someone.
This is a huge problem, because there's
Mm.
just a grey area. There is no law. It's like, today it's law because we say it's law, and there's like, well, what is the actual law?
Yeah,
So it's the same here in Italy, but I'm like, do you know what? I don't really care. I'd rather have an EDC kit, a complete EDC kit like this one, just like one of those tactical pens, but opens up as it does loads of
My
stuff,
pen fell
and
apart.
I use that. I use this all the time, every single day. A basic med kit, a pin, like you said, a needle and a pin,
yeah.
and just loads of useful. It's not cool. It's not cool gear. It's just very basic gear that I use every single day, and it
And it works.
costs. And it costs nothing
Yeah.
to get all this stuff in here. Cost this doesn't really matter, because what the contents of this didn't cost me anything, really.
So a lot of things that I have that I hope never to use, like I have tourniquets and stuff like that. But
Sure.
now I'm holding up for our video. I guess we're gonna have to do some posts about this. But
Yeah.
do you guys know what this is?
That's a glass breaker in it. It's not like these little glass hammer things. Is it not?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's spring loaded, so you put it against the windshield,
Yeah, I thought
and
it
you
was.
press, and the spring releases and it cracks the window. So you put it in the corner of the
Mm.
window, and it's also got a small knife that you can't cut yourself on, but it's a
Seatbelt.
seatbelt cutter. So this I
Mhm.
always have I always have on my car keys.
Hmm.
So and it lives in my pocket.
I give them to my some of the guys that I work with in my company. We all drive vans, and that is the exact model that I use, and I've been using. Mine are all yellow. I have a batch of them somewhere. I thought I had it on the windowsill here because I found another load of them, and they're not that dear, only €3 or €4. But mine on my keyrings always there. I always check with my friends then after I've given them. Where's your one? Where's your one? Where's yours?
Oh,
Oh,
you
it's
can buy
broken,
them for
or it's
3 or
at
4
home.
euros?
Yeah.
Wow, here they are like at least 10.
Really?
No, no, no. 3 or 4 years from China there about 10 years ago or so.
But do
So
they
maybe they're
work?
getting
Do the
used.
shiny ones work? Have you
Mine
tried
do.
it?
Mine do.
Ah,
Yeah.
you have?
I've tried it. I've
I
tried it on
would
an old car one day 'cause I was walking past it and it was broken up. Yep,
perfect
worked great.
because the seatbelt cutter I have no problems with, but with the glass breaker it can be because that thing if it's not sharp enough and it's hardened steel, it you might not break the glass. So I
Well,
would
it
Yeah.
is
really like
hardened
to
steel.
try
That's what
my
that is. It's tungsten or
yeah,
something.
but you don't
I
know when
just
you buy from. So I haven't tried mine, but I would very much want to try it
One of the
just to be
guys at
know.
camp decided his phone had a super duper phone protector. One of these best
Uh,
phone protectors ever. Go ahead, he said. Try the
the,
glass break on it. And I did on the first time, and no, it didn't damage it. Go again, go on, no problem. No. And it damaged it the second time around. He was
yeah,
nearly crying. So they do work, and I've seen him working on real cars as well, and the seatbelts work. So, as I said, get
yeah,
them. They're indispensable. They have to. I'd give them to everybody because if say
yeah,
in Sweden, you've got lakes everywhere. You go into a lake, the
yeah,
water's going to freeze. It's going to freeze you, and your instinct is to jump in the back seat. That's what they say. And then you're trying to get out the back window. You're not going to break it, but you take the headrest off. That's got the hardened steel on the tip of the headrest. Barring that, if you have one of these things, boom, give it a smash, and will work as well. So
yeah.
that's a little key note there. The headrest of a car, the two pointy parts that sit into the
yeah.
seat on the front seats, they are designed for breaking glass.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Just in case you didn't
Unfortunately,
know
I
that.
have a Volvo that you can't remove the
They don't come
headrests.
off. Yeah. You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the Volvo who designed it, but no, maybe some other crowd. Yeah,
They
but,
pro they
all of these
probably no, they're more like integrated in the seat. So it's I can have a look later.
yeah,
Someone may school me on this, but I don't think I can remove them. Not easily anyway.
we but there is other kind of glass breakers you can get for them,
Yeah, oh
so, I
yeah.
mean, if you're that way inclined. But I go with the same ones that you have, Jim. I
Yeah.
absolutely 100%, I'll stand by them. They're fantastic little things. Even if you got them and put your logo on it, just handed them out free. That's what I do to all them. I buy them in batches of maybe 20 to 30, and I just hand them out to
Ah, yeah,
guys.
then you
I
get a
do,
good
yeah.
price.
Oh, no, no, I give them free. Free. Yeah, 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 they get a good
Yeah, and
price
I
because you
mean,
get
but
them
when
for
you buy 20,
bulk.
you get often better price. No, but these are the kind of things when I think about preppers. That's what I
Mm,
think about. I think about you're thinking about what could happen in these different circumstances and how do I handle that? And you think of that in advance instead
yes.
of thinking about that shit happened. What am I gonna do? No,
Yeah,
you thought about that in advance. So when something happened, you had like, oh, I have like five ways I can tackle this
break the glass
situation. So preparing, don't see prepping as building your castle and that's everything.
and just sit in it
No,
and hope everything
no.
goes well.
So
No, you have to have plans.
yeah. Then of course you can be a homesteader and a prepper, but that's another thing
Of course.
because
Mhm,
I don't think
mhm.
that homesteading and prepping is the same thing.
That's for another episode.
That is another episode.
That's another episode. Preppers versus homesteaders. But that's one thing I do want to, me as a prepper, I do want to prepare my castle. To
Mhm.
a certain extent. But that's not going to be the be all and end all of everything because you know that that castle can become compromised, and then what you're going to do.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you have to have other options. And like you say, and like we said in a previous episode, prepping isn't all just about prepping for those kind of situations. It's also like you say, everyday situations, and buying things that I use all the time help me in everyday life, for the smaller situations. But yeah, like you have to have plans. Like you say, you have to have plans. And I do lack on certain plans in certain places.
We all
mm.
do.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And the ones that don't, They lie.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I also think there's something that's not often talked about in prepping circles is that there might actually be a value in not having so much. Because if you have prepared your house, your living place, incredibly well, then just having done that and being so happy that you did that, if time comes that you really should go, you really should evacuate, or you really should relocate, then you might not do it because that would hurt.
Or you're overconfident in your place.
Yeah, but also overconfident, but also, like you bought into it, you like you
I
sacrificed your hard-earned money and energy into making
Sure.
this, so you don't want to give up on it.
Yes, I
And that
understand you.
I think that can be dangerous, actually.
Mm. Yeah, that's an
Food for
interesting
thought.
thought. Yeah, that's an interesting point. But like I say, I guess it just depends on the situation,
Yes, of course. But I mean, like, it would make your decision to if you're gonna stay or if you're gonna go, you're gonna be biased.
of
And the
course.
more you prepared for staying at home, the more biased you're gonna be.
Yes.
Mm.
I've never thought about that. But yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a good
And
point.
about staying at home, just before we started this podcast, I did tell you that the electric was off here for about 2 or 3 hours. So when I came in then and was still off, I was about to just do a little bit of rejigging and I needed my computer to make sure it stays on when we're doing the podcast and so on. The internet and use the iPad for a hotspot. But my wife and myself were eating dinner at just before that, and she says to me, she doesn't know what to get me for Christmas. I did say, okay, let's go for it. We just get that generator we're after. And I want a crossover switch as well for the ESP. So she agreed. She said it to me. We'll get a generator.
I thought
Okay.
you I thought you were going to ask for your bunker.
No, I have a generator already, but it's fairly knackered. But I'll go with this new one. I'll take the bigger one, a couple of £1,000. I'm okay with that. And crossover, changeover switch. And next year I get the bunker. Yeah, get the proper one.
Ah, next year. Ooh.
Wow.
He's
I'll have a big
splurging.
build up here on this program. I've also for the show when we're going to do about homesteading, I was speaking to somebody during the week, and I think he'd be keen to have a chat with us as well. So
Yeah, nice.
he was.
Yeah, I would.
So
I'm really
it's
excited
all
about that
looking.
episode.
Yeah, it's coming good. We're coming good.
I have a lot of ideas
So
of people we could invite. We talked about safety in the wilderness, and I this summer actually on a prepping meetup, I met a guy who is a search and rescue specialist, and he had a course with us, and he's been on some Swedish podcast earlier, and one thing he said is that a lot of people that get lost, and or in danger when they're outside, they are not far away. They find them like 3 meters in from the road in a ditch or something. The problem is they slipped or something, and hurt themselves, and then they got
we were
cold.
speaking earlier.
So I was
Mm.
thinking about this earlier when we were talking about it could be harder to go down a mountain than up and stuff like that. But it can be as easy as you can be the lone wolf survivalist prepper god, and then you go out the door, leave your phone in, and you slip.
Yeah.
So you can't get to the phone.
This is a crazy point that I want to just before we wrap this episode up as well. When I was in Dolomites with that guide, I was surprised to see that he was a guide walking up the Dolomiti Mountains, which isn't, it's no joke of a mountain, like especially in the winter.
No, I've been there. It's nice.
And up there, you get bears, wolves, and all sorts of stuff. And I was looking on his bag and everything else. He had no radio, and this guy takes people out for a job and stuff. So I had because my phone is actually a radio. It's actually got a VHF UHF radio built into it, attached an antenna. So I took my radio with me, and I had a spare Quang Sheng radio.
Did you bring the antenna?
Yes, I did bring the antenna.
He
So
might
I
have-
had a spare antenna, a spare radio, and I gave him before I left. I programmed the radio up with all the local emergency frequencies and stuff. And before I left, when he passed the hotel, I was like, "Hey, I've got a present for you," and gave him the radio.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Now you have a radio."
Yeah, he might have
Very
had
good.
maybe you asked, but he could have had a Garmin InReach Mini or something. They are very, very small, and you can send emergency texts and stuff.
No, I asked him. I said,
Oh, you
"Listen," I
did?
said, "Yeah." I asked. I said, "Yeah, do you have a radio?" He's like, "No." They skipped that part. I'm like, "They skipped that part."
Really?
I was like, so you're, a qualified guide and stuff, and they skipped that part.
Lewis was fuming.
It made me
I would have been a
mad.
bit mad with that as well, yeah.
I was like,
This
how is
guy's in
that
charge
even
of your life.
possible? How is that even possible? And so, and I took his number, and I still contact him now, and he asks me questions on the radio, and I teach him how to use the radio. So,
Good.
yeah,
He's probably watching this show. What's
yeah,
his name?
No,
Gabrielle.
but I think it's nice because
Gabrielle. How are you, Gabrielle?
we have now when we've been talking, we have a lot of people we could invite to this podcast.
There's a lot.
And to
We have a
everyone,
huge list now.
yeah, and to everyone who's listening, do you know of someone that would be cool to have here? Please let us know.
Yeah, definitely. And let us know what you thought about this episode. And, I'm sure the comment section will be on fire. So,
Don't forget, if you want to come on with us, just let us know in the comments and put your name forward, and we can have a chat and bring you in.
exactly.
More than accommodating.
Yeah. And also, if you have any special subjects that you want us to cover in the podcast, again, in the comment section, let us know what subjects you would like us to dissect and give our opinions on. And we'll be happy to cover any subjects and topics that you would like.
Yeah,
So,
I got a suggestion just today, and that was that we could give examples of mistakes and things that we've bought that wasn't very good.
oh, okay.
There's plenty of them.
So yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. Do we
Yeah.
dare? Do we dare to?
We could.
I have one of them pens that you have, Lewis, and it's in the bin. It fell apart, and I even went and I got extra ink cartridges because I was using it every day. I like
Yeah.
that pen. Nice and
Yeah.
chunky, the emergency pen. And I opened it to change the ink, and I wouldn't close again, ever. And I don't know what was wrong with it.
Oh, really?
Like, I'm
No,
an
this one's-
engineer. I couldn't figure it.
This one's really good, I have to say. It's even takes that part, it's got a bottle opener on it, it's got a
Yeah.
screwdriver, and it's really good, I have to say. The only thing is the ink cartridges didn't last too long.
That's what I'm saying. I bought a
and,
load of them. I have them here. You can have them.
But
I'll come to Italy and give them to you.
and
That's for another episode. This is for another
Yeah.
episode.
Yes. Yeah. We'll
so,
do a tour.
but yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's
Making our way
I
through
think-
Europe with a
Yeah.
tarp.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, we're at 56 minutes now, so I think it's a good point to probably wrap it up.
Well, look, I'm delighted that this show is going well, and we're getting an increase in listenership every week. And we'd love to hear more comments coming from people. It's
Yeah.
great to see it from our side.
Yeah.
Gives us a bit of a boost as well.
Sure. Even constructive criticism. We take that too. It hasn't got to be all good stuff.
And hopefully that issue with the microphone from last week is sorted, because we
Yeah,
spent a
we
lot
got-
of time and money getting this fixed.
Yeah, but it was great because we had some issues. And we got attention to that problem, and we solved it, I think.
Exactly.
We think we have it solved, yeah.
Yeah, we think we have it solved.
Hopefully.
But yeah, right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. We hope to have you back next episode. Don't forget to give us, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. And if you're on Spotify, wherever you're listening from, give us a follow. Tell us what you think about the episode. And thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
My alarm outside gone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.